Hello, everyone. My name is Hector Del Castillo, and I'm Chief Product Officer at Byond. And it is my pleasure to welcome all of you today to today's discussion. Today's topic is successful acquisitions for health tech companies. And today's speaker is Laurie Wiggins, who is CEO of Byond. Laurie, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Hector. It's great to be here.
All right. Well, thank you. So let's go ahead and get started. For those of you that are brand new to us, welcome, and welcome everyone else. I want to make sure we go over some housekeeping items. You are all on listen only mode, but you can actually submit your questions using the chat window or the Q&A portion of the menu. And also, if you encounter any audio issues during the session, you can refresh your browser, or you can drop out and come back in. Sometimes that tends to address any issues. Submit your questions anytime during today's discussion. We will do our best to try to fit them into our program. And if not, we're still gonna have a few minutes during at the end of today's discussion for some questions and answers. So be sure to type them in on either the chat or your Q&A portion of the chat. And we're recording today's session, so if you are here, you will get a link. And actually, if you signed up, everybody will get a link where you can view the video playback, and then we'll post that and send that to you after today's live session. If you're on Twitter, you can actually follow us on any of these handles, at BeyondMA, at Laurie J. Wiggins, and at HM Del Castillo. Those are our Twitter handles. You can also follow us at the short URL, which is bit.ly/BeyondMNA, and that'll be our LinkedIn company page. And also, I would like at this point to give a shout out to our video producer, who is Scott Taylor. He actually will take care of editing and producing and publishing the video, which we'll be providing to you as a video playback. So you'll be hearing from us afterwards. So thank you, Scott. And without further ado, I'd like to actually introduce you to Laurie Wiggins, who is CEO of Byond, who will actually lead today's discussion. Laurie, welcome.
Thank you, Hector. Hello, everyone. It's good to see you today. So, who is this webinar for? CEOs that want to acquire successfully, those that have a growth mindset, and those that want to build an enduring business. In this presentation, you will learn how to acquire successfully and what you can do today to start to make it happen. Does this sound like you? You've worked hard for years to grow your business, but you want it to grow faster. You need to outpace your competition, and you want to increase the resilience of your business. You want to position your company to buy other companies. First, there is nothing for sale today. Our goal here is to provide value. And if you stick around until the end, we have a useful gift for you. Who are we? I have over 30 years of experience with technology companies, both working in them and with them. And I've been helping to grow business revenues since 2010. And I really get a kick out of helping CEOs scale, buy, or sell. I am a Virginia Tech grad, go Hokies, and I love to sing and travel with my husband, family, and friends. And Hector Del Castillo, our Chief Product Officer, is also very experienced, having worked with technology businesses for over 30 years. And he enjoys helping CEOs grow their technology and or software businesses. He is a proud UC Santa Barbara and UT El Paso graduate. And he's a running man. He loves soccer, walking, and running. First, let's look at the health tech global market. Last year in 2019, it was worth $106 billion. And it is predicted to have a CAGR a compound annual growth rate of almost 30% through 2026. This is a busy chart, but the most important thing is what's going on at the top. So you can see that in 2018, this health tech or digital health market was worth over $86 billion. But see the growth until in 2025, it's going to be worth over $500 billion. Note that the North American portion of this market is 46%. So between the US and Canada, they will be responsible for almost half of this market growth through these 5 years coming up. Let's look at the market by technology. So the wedge here at 12 o'clock is telehealth. So if you've needed a medical professional this year since the pandemic started, you probably spoke to them through the internet. This large gray wedge here is mobile health. So think wearables that are powered by smartphone technology. The wedge at 6 o'clock is health analytics. So think about analytics being used to help predict which patients might be readmitted to a hospital within 30 days. Medicare penalizes hospitals for that, and how they can identify these patients and do things to help prevent that readmission, or using analytics to identify people who might be predisposed towards a chronic illness and provide early treatment, thus helping the patient and preventing greater costs down the line. Last, and the biggest piece of this pie, is our digital health systems. For example, using artificial intelligence to reduce an overworked radiologist's workload, or using augmented reality imagery that is patient-specific so that the surgeon with the patient on the table can have a more safe and efficient operation. Lastly, I wanted to show this chart. Investment in an industry, the amount of investment, is a key indicator of that industry health. And you'll notice here that for each of these lines, for each of these plots, you'll see that investment has been rising over the past 4 years, with the exception of the second half of 2019. Despite the pandemic and the US economic situation, it looks like 2020 is going to be an excellent year for health tech investment, outpacing all other years. This is great news, both for buyers and sellers, and remarkable given the state of our economy right now. Let's look at acquisition more closely. First, there are two major types of deals. The scale deal is typically done by companies that are earlier in their life cycle. They want to increase their market share. They want to gain efficiencies in their operation. And their targets are typically their competition and potentially their suppliers. So they're all about scaling and increasing their market share, versus scope deals, which involve usually are done by companies that are more mature and more established. Scope deals involve getting into new markets, selling to new customers. Those that do scope deals, they're looking to diversify their company. Bain did a study that looked at M&A deals in 2019, and they found that in the healthcare industry, over 74% of the deals were scope deals, and that was the most of any industry that they studied. Food for thought. Now, let's look at how we successfully acquire. So there's three major things that you need to do. First is properly preparing to buy. How you work with your sellers is key, as well as due diligence, closing, and integration. When you earn an A in all of these areas, you are maximizing that acquisition for your company. First, why is your company acquiring? Looking at your competition, where your industry is at, and in consultation with your business advisors, your consultants, and other key people. You're going to hone in on that reason or reasons why you would acquire. We've talked about some of them, and there might be others specific to your company or industry. Once you've established why you are buying, then you need to get agreement from all the owners and key shareholders so that you don't have disagreements or problems down the line. You want to, and this will help inform your targets and the characteristics of those targets. The more specifically you can determine your target characteristics, the more likely you're going to be successful and achieve an acquisition that will truly help your company. Another item to consider carefully is getting an experienced team. You want professionals that have M&A experience. Mergers and acquisitions is different enough from your other business activities that it has its own issues and problems and, frankly, quirks. And experienced professionals can help you navigate M&A as well as avoid the many potholes. We're talking about lawyers and accountants that have M&A experience, and these professionals are definitely necessary. However, they tend to be rather focused on their own areas. Whether you choose someone like us or you have someone in-house or another consultant, it's a good idea to have someone who's looking at the big picture and also helping you manage the M&A process. Going through an M&A is like having another full-time job, and someone needs to keep running the company while you're in acquisition mode. So finally, how are you going to pay for the acquisition? What is your budget? Most companies use a combination of company equity or stock, company cash, and outside debt. If you are taking on debt, it's wise to get a letter from your banker or financier, because savvy sellers will want some sort of indication that you have the resources to actually close the deal. Let's look at working with sellers. So a moment ago, I was talking about the characteristics that you need to specify for your targets. So the idea is to identify numerous targets and then narrow them down to a handful that most closely match your requirements. Not only does this help ensure that you're going to get a company that will actually benefit your company, but it helps keep you objective. I've seen CEOs fall in love with a potential acquisition and usually regret it later. So that compare contrast exercise you go through helps you see the winners pretty quick. the ones that you want to keep talking to. So, like I said, only approach those that most closely match your requirements. And once you've done so, you want to talk to them confidentially. So you have them sign a confidentiality agreement, a CA. This is very similar to an NDA, but includes some extra strictures, such as while under the CA, your targets don't talk about the fact that they're talking to you. And this is typically for competitive reasons. So as you are talking to these companies, you are now understanding better where they're at and how open they are and how flexible they are, frankly. However, the time comes when you need to narrow it down to one company, and you're going to ask them to enter into a letter of intent. You're going to issue that to them, and the letter of intent has the basic tenets of the deal. So that includes the terms, the price, it includes any earnouts, any identification of key employees and how you retain them. It includes the ground rules of due diligence, warrants, any shareholder permissions that you need, who's going to pay for closing costs, and so forth. Let's talk about due diligence and integration. So some companies that we've seen engage in what we call the paper check. The paper check is doing a legal and a financial check. But although these areas are necessary, they are not sufficient to have a deep and thorough due diligence. You need to look at additional areas such as cybersecurity. If your target has been hacked, the value of the company could be diminished, sometimes significantly diminished. You need to look at marketing, sales, customer service, operational processes, and other areas. Understand that due diligence is a risk reduction measure for your deal. And doing thorough due diligence informs your integration. You're finding issues during due diligence, and surfacing these issues now can save you from a bad deal, or it makes you even more enthusiastic to go forward because the company's in good shape, or the problems that you're seeing you can deal with and you still want to move forward. Better that than discovering problems after closing and now you're stuck. You don't have a choice as to whether you want to deal with them or not. As far as integration planning goes, PwC did a study of companies that conducted M&A that bought other companies, and they found that companies that start integration planning early in the M&A process were 40% more likely to be successful in their M&A. You're looking to integrate people, processes, systems, and data. And integration is frequently a failure point in M&A for companies because executives tend to underestimate the people, the time, and the money, as well as the types of expertise they need to actually get the job done in the time allotted so that their financial case for doing the deal doesn't go up in smoke. Once you have done your integration planning and the deal has closed, some things to keep in mind while you're doing integration. First, clear communication is required with the target's staff and executives. It's important to let people know what their status is and what their role will be in the new company. You want to prioritize your integration activities. What's the most important aspects of your target's business for you? 1, 2, 3, 4. You prioritize them based on that importance. Also, hopefully during due diligence, you have identified the risks that you're uncovering, the problem areas, so that your integration planning can take those areas into account. And now while you're integrating, you can deal with those areas. And finally, commit to a single culture. It's critical that everybody be on the same page about how they communicate and the culture of both companies as they come together. I have witnessed a situation where that never occurred. And although the merger was supposedly completed, these companies never came together, and they operated always as two companies, and the buyer ended up divesting later at a loss. So let's see how we do this. Here's how you can acquire successfully. Here's the hard way. You can become an acquisition expert yourself. You can attend seminars and conferences, read books, take classes, and hire expensive consultants. Or you can follow our methodology and framework to acquire successfully. But more about that in a minute. So let's review what I told you today. I said I'd cover how to acquire successfully and what to do today to make it happen. What we're proposing is a 30-minute phone call with you to get clarity on 3 things. First, how much work is it going to take to prepare to acquire successfully? Assess your readiness to acquire, and set up a process to acquire successfully. Contact us at bit.ly/BeyondAPPT, and we'll set something up and have a chat. It is complimentary, of course. Also, we contemplate a business acquisition workshop in the early winter. If you would like to know more, please email us at solutions@beyondma.com. And this completes this portion of the presentation. And I'll turn it back over to Hector for Q&A. Hector?
Thank you so much, Laurie. And those of you that are in the audience, if you can type in the chat window, any questions. And I do have one question, Laurie, and that is, you referred earlier to a Bain study showing that the majority of health tech companies prefer to do scope deals.
Yes.
When you go through all the process from beginning to end of an acquisition that is a scope deal, what does that mean across all those 3 areas that you mentioned as far as the level of effort needed and the expertise of the people involved in doing those steps?
Right. Well, you know, acquisition strategy is part of your overall company strategy, and ideally anyway. And when you're developing your company strategy, you're plotting out what you want to do with your company in the coming years. And let's say you feel like you've done all you can do in the market markets that you're in. And in order to grow your company successfully, you see that you're going to enter new markets, or you're seeing customers that you're currently selling into, but you can offer them additional products, additional services. And since they're already your customers, that's a much easier lift than trying to go out and get new customers. So as you are preparing to buy, then you're going through these strategies and identifying those markets that you want to buy into. And once you've done that, now approaching particular sellers, that's going to help inform you as to which companies you want to buy. Those that have what you want, right? You've already decided that you're going to purchase these clients or these products or services. And that's going to really inform your decisions there. As well as the fact that since you're an established company, you may already have M&A experience, or you've already got a team of consultants and other experts that you rely on, and you assemble those, and your due diligence then hopefully is a lot more thorough because you've probably been burned in the past, and you know better, you understand better the integration process. Practice with these things does make perfect.
Sounds great. Thanks for that answer. And audience, if you have any other questions, if you can actually type them into the chat. And I don't see any other questions at this time, Laurie, but as we go on, if you can go on to the next one, I'd like to make sure that we give the audience a chance to type in any other additional questions. And for those of you that are new, we'd like to let you know that we believe in making a massive positive impact within any organization we work with. And we can help you either scale or prepare your company to exit or acquire. And we work quite a bit with technology and software companies, that includes any type of health tech company. Here is our contact information. You can contact us via email. You can also follow us on LinkedIn and connect with us on LinkedIn, but also you can visit our website. Any of these things, you can actually reach out to us. And we also shared with you the links as well as the email address where you can contact us in case you're interested in talking to us more about or knowing more about the upcoming acquisitions workshop, in addition to also setting up an appointment so we can talk about your current situation and understand how we can help you. And Laurie, I don't see any other questions from the audience at this time, so I think we can wrap up. So audience, I want to thank you for attending. And Laurie, thanks so much for this very interesting talk.
Thank you, Hector. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. Stay well, and we'll see you next time.